Hi, this is Oliver here, starting our video tutorials. This one is for ABRSM theory grades. This is grade 5, this is the year 2000, and it's paper A, and we're focusing on question 1. Okay, so if we go over, we have a quick look at question 1, you'll notice this is what it says. In the following extract, some changes of time signature are needed. Put the time signature in the appropriate places. Okay, so we need to think about that for a minute. If you come over on the right hand side of the screen, you'll notice it says things you need to know and understand. Alright, so you'll notice I've left this gap as well, like 4 or 5, what's coming up. So I'm just showing you in real time the process that's kind of inside of my head, and hopefully that'll help you to gain that facility also. So the first one I recognized was how to add note values together. Now this is important. Because as you add the note values together, it'll give you the ability to figure out the time signature. Number 2, I have noted how to calculate from the given beaming group the value to be either even or dotted. Okay, when you know it's even or if it's dotted from the beaming group, that'll tell you if it's simple or it's compound. So like simple will be things like 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4. And compound will be things like 6, 8, 9, 8, 12, 8, this kind of way, okay? Obviously, even is very equal, and compound feels a bit more like in lumps of 3. When we look at number 3 here, it says find the main accents in order to find the time signature and indicate bar lines. Okay, so again, if we can find the main beats, and usually they're the longer beats that can tell you what time signature you're in. You've noticed I've left 4, so as we find things in the papers, we do it over. We'll use that and we'll fill in those notes as we go. So here we go. We come over, and if we look at the first bar, as I look at it, it says 6, 8, but let's count it through. 1, 2, 3, that's a quaver rest or an 8 rest. 4, 5 and 6, and sure enough a bar line. And you notice beside it there's a gap. And in this gap here, they're presuming that we're going to write in some time signature, I would say. Let's look at the next set of beaming note. You'll notice it's 1 and 2. 2 8 notes, that makes 1 quarter. There's the next quarter, so that's 2 quarters. Another 2 8 notes makes another quarter, that's 3. And then the 4th rest here, so that bar adds up to 4 4. Next bar over, you see the beam. So this is a bit of a giveaway. 4 8 notes in a row, and they beamed it together. They didn't continue it on. So that tells me they're thinking equal in this bar. So again, 2 8s give me 1 quarter, another 2 8s give me another quarter. So that is worth half the bar. And that's a thing they also teach you in some of the earlier grades, this thing called an imaginary bar line. You keep 2 of the beats on this side of the bar in 4 4, and 2 of the beats on this side of the bar in 4 4. And that adds up. There's the other quarter, there's the 4th quarter. Into the final bar, you notice a half rest, or a minimum rest, so that's 1, 2. There's a beaming of 3, 4, and 5. And it was a little bit of a giveaway there. They beamed these separate compared to earlier. They beamed them as a set of 4. See that? So that told me this was thinking 2. So why did they beam this separate? Because in 5, 4, they typically beam it either as 2 and 3 in the quarters, or they beam it the other way around, 3 and 2. So in this case, I can see it's 1, 2, 3. There's the quarters, and there's 4 and 5. So there are the time signatures. Part B of this question, as we come down, it says, describe the chords marked A and B in the second extract below as either 1, 4, or 5. The 2 as well. Also indicate whether the root, we have to indicate if it's root, 3rd, or 5th in the bass. That's the inversion, okay? So that might be a thing we bring up in our notes, knowing our inversions. So let's put that in as a possibility, knowing our inversions. So knowing our inversions. So we have root, and you've first inversion. 3rd in bass, and you have 2nd inversion, 5th in bass. Yeah, so that seems fair enough, doesn't it? And then we go back again and we find where we are. And you'll notice it tells us find these chords A and B. So let's look at A. Now, from the key signature here, they give us the questions. They said the progression occurs, and we can see it's in the key of G minor. So this is something else we need to be able to do. So we might go back to our notes, be able to think the primary chords in a given key. So let's make that a note. Be able to recall primary chords in a given key. So what are the primary chords? Typically, they are the 1, 4, and the 5. Usually that's 5, 7 are the dominant chord. That's in a major key. Sometimes they also think, 2 minor, I better put a little comma, 2 minor. This is all in a major key. And then they might think 6 minor. So again, 6 minor. So I'm going to put in brackets that this is in major, because the issue we have in our particular one is we need to be able to call the chords in minor. So call chords in minor. So again, this is the primary chords in minor, and they're almost the same, just slight difference. So what are they? They're 1 minor, so that's done with a lowercase Roman numeral. And then 4 minor, again lowercase. And then 5 is major, so it's 5 and 7, or the 5 dominant. And then they do add the other chords, which in this case end up being 2, and that will be a little diminished. And then also flat 6, and that turns out to be major. Okay, so that's it in a minor key. Now it's grand having the Roman numerals, but we also need to be able to spell the chords. So what do I mean by spell chords? Well, I'll just show you. Spell chords. So for instance, if I'm in G minor, that'll be G, B flat and D. The 4 chord will be C minor, C, E flat and G, and the 5 chord will be D, F sharp, A and C. 2 diminished will be A, C and E flat, and the flat 6 will be E flat, G and B flat. And then I suppose also I might say to people, it's important that you can also use these, use these chords practically. Now that's the tough one, isn't it? But that'll come in time, hopefully, because all theory really is an explanation of what happens practically. So that's enough notes for now. They seem to be growing. So let's go back over to our paper and see, can we figure out some of these. So onto our paper. So A, this is A. So let's have a look at A. So I'm going to spell that here. There's a C down the bottom. Oh, it does ring at the top, so you end up with a C, E flat, G and E flat. If I think of the chords in that key, that's C minor. So it'd be C minor in root position. Okay, that's not too bad. And then I go to the next chord, which is going to be the B, they tell me, and I find it here. Now it has a bracket up over it, so I need to realize the bottom notes here are ringing against these top 2 quavers. The quarters here are ringing against the 2/8, all right? So you have C, C, A and E flat. Rotate them around again. That's another important tool to be able to rotate pitches around till you get 1, 3, 5, and eventually 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. So that's A, C, and E flat are the 2 diminished chord. Just one other side note as I think of it, on the A chord here, this A one we worked out to be C minor, you notice it was C, and it was G, which was over an octave away, and then E flat again. So they didn't go C, E flat, and G. So when you spread it out over an octave and you don't stack exactly in order, that's called a voicing, just so that you know. So at this stage, maybe if I felt I wasn't taking my notes well, I might start writing those in. So I'm going to write those in. So I go up and select my text tool. I come down and I'll remember the chords. That first one was C minor, and I'd like me to tell it's root in bass. And then I go over to the B chord, and this is the A small 0 for diminished chord, and it was in first. Right, first inversion, or you could say, or third in bass. Let's try that out a little bit. So that looks okay. That's all right. Okay. And then the last part of this is they start talking about this thing called 6453. What is this 6453? Below the stage, right, 6453, and they show it to me in Roman numerals. They show me the Roman numerals saying 1C to V, you'll notice. Okay, 1C to V. So this is again inversions. So we need to understand, we'll go back to our notes and we'll write in this system so that we know something else we need to be aware of. So number 9, hopefully the final one, as you say, under stand figured, it's called bass system. So they start you with this really in grade 5, and the most typical one, 6/4. Well, I better give them to you in order, I suppose. 5/3 equals root 6/3 equals first inversion, INV for short, and 6/4 equals second inversion. So again, obviously, first inversion means the third is in the bass, and second inversion, fifth is in the bass. Now, sometimes they label them as well, so I might put that back after root. In some companies, they label it as A, and then the 6/3, which is their first inversion, will be labeled as B, and then their 6/4 or second inversion will be labeled as C. So that's where you're getting the 1C to V chord. So for us in this particular key, that'll actually mean G minor over D going to the D chord. It's usually at a cadence point, so I always check the long notes, or maybe bar 4, bar 8 in a typical piece. So here we go on bar 8. I notice also a long ringing note at the bottom. It's often a given away a tied note. So if I spell the chord, I end up with D, B flat and G. So that's a G minor, rotated around again, G, B flat and D. But D at the bottom. While that rings, it falls here. The B flat falls to the A, so I end up with D, A and F sharp. So that's a G minor over D, or a 1C, to a D, A and F sharp, to a 5 chord. So bingo, we've found it. So I just need to write it in. So I go up and grab my text tool, right underneath where I think it belongs. I click my text tool and I literally write 6/4, space, 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 to where you feel kind of comfortable. 5/3. Back up, select my text tool. So the only thing we didn't fill in so far in this was the time signatures at the start. Now we are editing in PDF here, so it's not meant to look this perfect finished product. It's more about sending back the information for correction and understanding, gaining the knowledge. So if I go back up, again, I just click my text tool, and then just right where the bars were, I'm just going to put it above the clef so I can understand it, so the teacher can correct it easy. That was going to be 4/4, if you remember, was the time signature. And then likewise, I go again to this last bar, and I remember that bar to be 5/4. Again, click my text tool and it jumps back out and it's edited. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully kind of got you through question 1. If you have any questions, get on to me and we'll be talking again soon. Hope you enjoy the rest of the questions that are coming. Bye for now.